Beats here from Popternative, speaking to John and Annie from the band Point North. We're talking about the new record, Prepare for Despair, going to be arriving August 18th via Hopeless Records. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up,
Thanks for having us.
No, of course. It's always exciting, John, because, you know, there's so much that goes into putting out a new record. There's obviously recording it, but then, like, you know, writing it, then recording it, then like selection process and everything. You guys are doing something really cool where you're kind of releasing some tracks, you know, week after week, and people get a kind of feel of it. What was that selection process like for this record in terms of what's going to be on the record? What's going to be the singles? Like, I'm always curious about that.
I'm not too sure. I think it's like the first big single was Safe and Sound off of the album. I mean, Dark Days is on the album. And some like a what else is on the album that's before Safe and Sound, Andy? Recover, yeah. So yeah, there's like a couple singles that had already been out, but as far as like the newer ones that we've recorded like this year, over the last year, it was just like we knew Safe and Sound was like the big special one with the awesome big feature, and we just kind of like wanted to like lead with our best foot forward and kind of just like come out and make a big stink. So that's what we did with that one, and then the other songs, it's interesting. Like the Someone You Don't Know song was like one of the last songs that we wrote for the album. So it was kind of like a last minute, one of the many last minute rushes to get it written and done. And then everyone was like, this is really cool. And I don't know, something about it was special. I don't really know how we kind of came to the decision for Someone You Don't Know to be a single. It just kind of like had single potential just with the chorus and everything. And then after that, it was Psycho, which is like one of our favorites on the album. So we kind of want to like give a little bit of, just like preview to like every little bit of flavor that the album has, I guess. So we wanted to show a little diversity in the singles, and those are just some of our favorite songs. So yeah, like I said, I think we were just trying to like lead with our best foot forward and just try to get people like locked in and excited for the album as possible.
And Andy, I find it interesting because, you know, some singles are out now, but the whole record is coming out the 18th of August, and it's going to be out there. People are going to spin it, and people are going to take their time with it. You know, Point North have a lot of incredible fans from all around the world. You know, over 1 million monthly listeners across the globe on Spotify, which is incredible, guys. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Like, Andy, I find it interesting because, you know, you might have some songs that you like from the record more than others, like you guys said about Psycho, but like it's going to be in the world's hands. There might be some songs that you didn't think about that are going to like really pop off the new record. I'm curious if you like, that's a kind of cool, kind of scary, nerve-wracking feeling a little bit too, right? Like it's going to be out of your hands at some point, right?
Yeah, no, and we love that too. And we love when there's like favorites that are not like one of the more mainstream, you know, push songs. I think the first time we really felt that was kind of off of our second release ever, which was Retrograde. There's a song on that record called Wasted Art, which we always get love for, always get requests to play. And it was like such a deeper, you know, cut of that record for us. And like to see it embraced out of kind of nowhere is always really amazing. So I definitely think because there's kind of so many like stylistic twists and turns on this record too, that you have people that will maybe gravitate towards the new heavier stuff, maybe people that will gravitate towards our kind of like foundational pop punk chorus sound. So there is a little bit of something for everyone. And I think we like that because we want to make sure that fans, new and old, are getting something that they like.
Absolutely. And John, you know, Andy and I talked about this a little bit before, you know, we officially started the interview very quickly, and I think it's a really cool thing. I mean, you could make an argument that Point North is a genre-bending band. Like, you could make that argument, right, John?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, in the music, for sure. I think a big part of that for us is like collaborating outside of our genre. So we have like a lot of EDM and electronic artists that reach out and we collaborate with. We have like, I think like 3 more EDM artist songs like that are done that are like kind of like in the process of like being released that are really cool. And it's something that it's rad. It's something we love to do, and we love, as far as our music goes, we just kind of keep sprinkling in elements of what we all love and grew up on and like and stuff. So we love like the pop stuff, we love the hip hop stuff, And this album, like, we're getting a little heavier, but there's still all
Safe
of
and
those other
sound,
elements.
making its rounds on Octane. Shout out to Octane. I'm just
For sure. Yeah. And so, yeah, everything we do, like, kind of just has like a new little, like I said, like just a new little sprinkle of what we love to make. And so, yeah, the album's just kind of like an amalgamation of all those genres put together, just like a little heavier. And we'll probably keep doing that every album we make, and
yeah,
you know, and just keep trying to, yeah, like you said, genre bend.
Andy, and I
For
feel
sure.
like in a lot of ways, maybe you have kind of, because, you know, you play guitar in the band, and I feel like there might be some situations, Andy, where you're making, like, you have something in mind sound-wise for something that you kind of talk to the band about. But in a lot of ways, like, I don't think you can, like, plan genre bending, right? There might be kind of an element or something that kind of happens, and you're just like, this song's going to be a bit heavier, or this song's going to be a bit more kind of electronic. Like, I feel like it just happens, right? Was that like that with this record a little bit too, Andy? I'm just curious about that.
I think what happens so often for John and I specifically is throughout the writing process, we kind of like get to a point in the song where it's like, okay, we can do something that's really traditional, really kind of expected, or here's a chance to do something different and cool. And I think more often than not, when we're led to that fork in the road in the writing process, we'll take the cool route. And I think that's where we start getting into, okay, so then what isn't traditional? What is different here? What is cool? What is maybe something that's unexpected? And typically, I think when you stray away from the traditional route is when you get things that mesh and things that combine.
100%. No, that's really well said. And John, something I really was excited to kind of talk to you guys about is I find it very interesting because when you kind of put out teasers saying, you know, new announcement coming out, right? Whether it's kind of a new music video or a new song or like a tour announcement, right? I always loved anticipation growing up. Like, the lead up is almost like an event, right? Like the announcement of your tour is like an event itself, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. And it's cool because I'm sure you guys are in the same boat as me. Like, you know, when I would get tickets to go see like my favorite bands like Taking Back Sunday and Fall Out Boy growing up, like 2-3 weeks in advance, like that was an event at school where everyone was kind of talking to it until the big thing. So is it cool that you're in a band where like announcements and hype up because of kind of the digital marketing age become kind of like digital events prior to the events? Like, have you thought about that? Because I always noticed that.
Totally, man. And that's such a cool question and thought because, yeah, it absolutely is. Like, we always call it like announcement day. It's always a reason to celebrate. And it's cool. It was, we do it a lot now. I remember when the band first started and we would do an announcement or tour, and it was like, you know, the band was very young and we were super, super excited about every little opportunity. So those announcement days were like huge deals, and they're still like big deals to us, but now it's like, a little more methodical, and we're trying to be strategic and smart about it, but it still feels really like rewarding for sure. And to see fans get excited the way we're excited about whatever it is we're announcing is also very like validating and rewarding too. So but yeah, definitely, like that's a whole game in itself, right? Is like the announcement day, and then how we interact with fans or respond to them and gauge their thoughts. And you know, it's really cool part of the project. Yeah.
Andy, when did you first start noticing, and John, I'd like you, after Andy answers, you can kind of chime in as well, because I think it's really interesting. I've noticed the global kind of appeal of Point North. Like, a part of Popternative running a media outlet, you want to see what's out there, you want to see the reactions and everything, and we're a global media outlet. And I've noticed that this is a band, like, you're a band that has fans all around the world, and it's really amazing to see. When did you kind of start noticing that, Andy, specifically? Was it like recently, maybe during the pandemic? I'm just curious about that.
I feel like we'll have the same answer, but I'm curious.
It was when we played Slam Dunk for the first time, and the only because I think we need to like really like experience it like with our own eyes, like doing it ourselves. So playing overseas for the first time at like probably one of our favorite festivals that we've ever been to as people and performed. We were like, holy shit, we are actually across the world right now, and these people give a fuck.
And when was that?
That was May of 21. Yeah, May of 21.
21 was it?
Yeah.
What is time these days though, right? Like, it's
wait, no.
No, dude,
was it last year? I'm so backwards. Was it May of 22?
Was it last year?
I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year.
Because we came home and did Aftershock and stuff.
Yeah. So it was
played
last year.
Aftershock. That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah, that was also
Yeah,
last
and like
year.
Blue
Last
Ridge
year,
and stuff.
yeah, last year was our busiest year by far. And yeah, that was slam
Oh
dunk.
my God. Yeah. Yeah, it was the same thing. I mean, like just to like jump off what Andy said, it was like it's totally like when you're home, you really just see like the analytics on your phone or whatever, or you see like the monthly listeners, and they're just like numbers on your phone, and it's just your phone. Like, that's not as cool as when you go out there. And yeah, we played this like awesome set, and it was like people were flooding in and like singing our songs, and it was like one of the sickest sets of that stage, I think, like of that day. It was totally surreal. So yeah, definitely seeing it in person there was crazy. And yeah, I was like, it just goes in hand with, I was telling my wife this morning, it's like I'm pretty excited to get back out there on the road, because that just goes hand in hand with touring in general. Because it's like when you drop music and you're not touring or on the road, you're just kind of like, all right, I hope everybody likes it. And then you're just kind of like left to your own, like, you know, mind spiraling of like what people's thoughts are of what you're dropping and stuff. And then as soon as you go on the road, you get to see people in person, singing along, reacting. It's way more validating.
There's a big argument though that could be made that, the pandemic was a very difficult time for a lot of people, but the self-reflection component of things really allowed bands to like write and think about things and like grow as people as well, right? Like that's also another thing as well. Obviously, the big thing is you can tour at all, but and that was the kind of deck of cards that we were handed. But like, do you feel like some of it made you kind of the self-reflection component, like kind of elevate Point North in a little way? Is that kind of a little difficult to answer? I'm just curious about that a little bit, like the time away a little bit.
I mean, yeah, like during the pandemic, I'm like in my studio right now. I built my studio, and it was just because we had it, which wouldn't have happened if COVID didn't happen. Like I needed a year off or more than a year. It's still not done, but like, and my career, like, it's like my career is like split in two ways. It's like I produce music and I make records, and then we're in Point North, and they're both like very, very important to me. And one hand always feeds the other. So yeah, when Point North wasn't able to tour, I built a studio, and then I guess you could say like, having the studio like elevated our production aspect of things, elevated our ability to write until 3, 4 in the morning, or do like crazier things and use better gear. So absolutely, I think it helped. And as far as like personally, like as far as the growth thing you're talking about, I totally also agree there, because being home for that long, you kind of get to dig your roots in a little deeper, and really solidify what life at home is. And so like over COVID, like I got engaged and I got married in March this year, and we got the studio built, and everything just kind of like got to be like concrete, and like in at least my life. So now that like we're kind of out of the worst of it, and hopefully we can kind of put COVID, not that it's totally over, but we can kind of put the fear factor of it in the rearview mirror a little bit. Now we can kind of tour with this, at least for me, speaking for myself, like I can tour with this like really strong foundation at home.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. And Andy, I kind of want to get back a little bit to the kind of global fan base and the Spotify thing. I just think it's just a crazy thing that, and there's different ways it happens. There's playlists, there's collaborations of our artists, but it's like to think about the fact that right now, on a monthly basis, there's over 1 million people that listen to your songs. I mean, there's not much more to say about that, then that's just kind of an incredible feat, right? Like there's not much more to say. Like it really is like a speechless moment in a lot of ways, right?
It's crazy. I mean, obviously the sheer volume is something that is always like just like hard for me to wrap my head around. I think for me, what's even cooler is like it'll break down like country by country, and like all the way down to like Kenya, and like Kazakhstan. Like there are people in Kazakhstan listening to Point North, which is like
it's the best feeling though, John. Like it is. That's the best feeling. That means you're doing something right if you think about it.
For sure. I think so. I don't know where that line is of like what success is, but yeah, people listening in Kazakhstan is a pretty crazy.
Well, it's because we do a lot of interviews. It's funny because we do a lot of interviews for like a lot of Netflix movies and TV shows, and we do like from interviews about kind of movies from all around the world and everything. And the access just of content all around the world now is just crazy. And it just like growing up, you know what I mean? Like not being able to kind of see as much. Like it's just mind blowing, to be honest with you.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but yeah, it's something that we've always tried to. It was always a goal of ours to have people care about our music at all, whether it's just like in our small hometown show in front of 15 people. Andy and I have played in front of nobody like so many times, like growing up. So, the fact that
happens, man. Like it's the grind.
No, I mean, like that's part of the journey, man. Like you have to, like that's what if you ask any successful musician or touring artist or whatever, like any advice, it's just go out and play.
I was a concert promoter in Canada when I was like 17, 18. I was telling Andy this. I was the first promoter in Canada to book state champs. They did a little run and everything. So like I know that feeling. I'm like, like small little like areas where like the 18 people in the venue are having a great time. But it's 18 people.
Tiny show.
No, it's crazy. No, but honestly, like I'm really happy for all the success that Point North is having, and with the new record, Prepare for Despair, coming out August 18th via Hopeless. Like I just hope it just gets bigger and bigger for you guys because you guys deserve it. Andy, John, thank you both so much for your time. It was actually great chatting with you both.
Yeah, likewise, man. Appreciate your time and having us on, and hope to do this again someday. Can
you guys plug quickly? I mean, like it's just the new record, August 18th, the socials, anything else specifically, both of you? Andy, you want to go ahead?
Take it away, Drew.
Yep, you can find us on all of our socials at Point North Band. Our website is pointnorthband.com. There you'll find tour ticket links, merchandise, everything else that's going on with us. New album, Prepare for Despair, coming out August 18th on Hopeless Records. Check it out, and thank y'all.
Awesome. Well, this has been
Check it out.
YouTube.com/PopTurn for previous episodes. Point North's new record, Prepare for Despair, August 18th via Hopeless Records. Until next time, this is Andy, John, and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popturnative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popturnative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popturnative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.